And this was an issue that seemed to have been settled back in 2018, now back in focus again. It's about the entry of women of all ages into the Shabarimala temple. It had been put in abeyance by the Supreme Court, an order that the court itself had given in 2018. Now it's going to be reviewed by a 9-judge bench. And that in itself is an incredible thing. In post-independence India, there have been a handful of 9-judge benches. But now, starting the 7th of April, this will be the next crucial phase in one of the most intensely debated constitutional cases. It involves religious freedom, gender equality, the scope of whether the judiciary can intervene in matters of faith. All of this will be decided by this 9-judge bench. The case traces its origins back to that 2018 verdict when a 5-judge constitutional bench of the Supreme Court, by 4-1 majority, struck down the centuries-old practice which barred women of a menstruating age from entering the hill shrine that is dedicated to Lord Ayappa. The court held that that restriction violated constitutional guarantee of equality, non-discrimination, freedom of worship, declaring that devotion cannot be subject to biological factors.
With the Chief Justice of India, Justice Sree setting up a 9-judges constitution bench to hear the matter pertaining to the entry of women in the Sabarimala temple, the long-pending debate between the faith and the law has reignited. In fact, it comes ahead of the much-awaited Kerala Assembly elections, and the same can have massive political ramifications as well. Remember that in 2018, the Supreme Court, by a virtue of a 4:1 judgment, had held that women of all ages can actually go in and worship at the Sabarimala temple, which is said to be the land and the home of Lord Ayappa. However, the same was not something that went well with various groups, and various petitions were filed before the Supreme Court of India. However, this debate that has reignited will be beginning from April 7th, when the Supreme Court's 9-judges bench would actually be hearing this particular matter. Now, what would be very, very interesting to see is the kind of arguments that would be addressed from both the sides, and what would be the stand of the Kerala government, whether it will stick to its original stand or would it have a different view now. So we'll have to wait and watch as to who will be the people and the judges who would be on the 9-judges bench, and what would be the stance of different parties.
So is the left-front government in Kerala recalibrating its politics? Remember, in the run-up to the 2018 judgment, and even after that, they were at the forefront of making this into a gender rights issue and non-discrimination issue, and they in fact even encourage women rights activists to go up the hill shrine. But now the left-front government, after facing a massive setback there electorally as well, right after the 2018 verdict, in the 2019 Lok Sabha, the left-front lost 19 out of 20 seats. That was exactly a year after the verdict, which allowed the women of all ages to enter Shabarimala. That verdict exposed vulnerabilities, particularly amongst traditional women voters who drifted away from the LDF. The local body elections last year too furthered those fault lines. For the left, which prides itself on its cadre strength, on grassroots organization, these results have triggered massive concerns about its eroding local influence. And one of the most significant political shifts has been among sections of the Irava community, one of the largest Hindu communities in the state, historically seen as a strong support base among Hindus for the LDF. The BJP has been attempting to expand its footprint in Kerala by leveraging identity issues, cultural narratives, etc. Political analysts say that the left's perceived shift and dilution when it comes to the Shabarimala issue is aimed at neutralizing the advantage that either Congress or even the BJP is trying to make inroads into the Hindu voters without abandoning its core ideological framework. So as Kerala heads into elections, it's going to be declared in the next few days, and elections are going to be slated for April and May. Chief Minister Pinarayi Vijayan faces this classic challenge of anti-incumbency. He has in fact bucked that trend 5 years ago in a very rare moment, and a very rare thing that's happened in the state. He actually got voted back. This time he's facing double anti-incumbency of the last 10 years. It's twice over. The left is eyeing a strategic repositioning seen as essential to retain electoral momentum.
We do not believe anybody, for the sake of politics, should tamper with traditions and culture of Hindus. Pinarayi Vijayan did this in 2018, and it is very clear that they have tried in the last 1 year to try and wriggle out of that position by holding the Ayappa Sangama. But look, the Hindus of Kerala, the Ayappa Bhakts of Kerala, will never forgive Pinarayi Vijayan for presiding over 2 grave injustices and crimes that he did.
All right, I want to go across to Kasturi Shankar, actor, and Dr. Nishan Nijamuddin is a public policy expert. Kasturi Shankar, 7 years ago, when this whole issue came to the fore, the left front's contention was that this is a gender rights issue, it's about women's rights issues. You cannot discriminate against half the population because of faith reasons. They called it a new age revolution. They gave protection to women devotees. There was this particular devotee called Fatima who was taken all the way up to the hill shrine. There was a lot of violence as well that happened. Now they seem to be recalibrating. We don't know what the official position is. We will know that once the left front submits the affidavit in the Supreme Court. But the fact that this case is going to be heard again starting April, bang in the middle of elections, what does that say to you?
First off, I think, Zaka, you hit the nail on the head. The timing of the Supreme Court case may be something that is coincidental, but I believe that the LDF and particularly Pinarayi Vijayan is facing the wrath of Hindus. He has no sympathy left with the Hindu vote banks in Kerala, so he has nothing to lose. So I think he's gone on an all-out offensive now to, as you said, recalibrate the Shabarimala issue and kind of portray himself and his party as the upholder of gender equality and minority laws. And I believe he is trying to cozy towards the minorities, actually not the minorities in Kerala, because Muslims can hardly be called minority, perhaps a dominant minority in Kerala. The Christians are firmly against LDF as well, which is very funny. If you look at the political lines, the battle lines are drawn clearly against the LDF. So it's really a question of how much BJP is going to gain and how much the UDF will be able to harvest the anti-incumbency. I believe Mr. Pinarayi Vijayan is trying to take away the UDF's, the Congress's advantage in this particular juncture by wooing the minorities as well as kind of portraying themselves as the upholder of ladies, women,
Immediate
and female
political
rights.
sort of ramifications. Obviously, they realized the moment the verdict got delivered, and a year later, when the Lok Sabha elections happened, the left got wiped out. Now they are trying to, the Devasam board, for example, the Travancore Devasam board, which manages the administrative affairs of Shabarimala, they are hinting at a change of stand. They are saying that they will reveal their stand at the SC hearing. And they've also said that the onus is on the Supreme Court, not so much on the state. And the state does not want to take a position on whether this is a gender equality issue or whether this is a protection of faith issue. They seem to be moving away from what they did 7 or 8 years ago.
They have to, because it's completely backfired on them. First of all, let me register something that is the voice of the people in Kerala. And it's the voice of the people across India who are devotees who believe in Lord Ayappa and the tradition that is followed in Shabarimala. As a woman and as a staunch Ayappa devotee, I myself am waiting my turn to go and get a glimpse of Lord Ayappa. You know why? Because this is not about gender discrimination at all. What Trupti Desai is following is unnecessary activism. Let me reiterate that this Shabarimala issue stems from unnecessary, in fact, malicious activism. Yeah, I dare not call it. I'm calling it activism for want of a better word. It's basically religious blackmail, and it has nothing to do with gender discrimination. There are thousands of temples across India. Across the world, there are thousands of Ayappa temples where I can go every day. I can go take a darshan of Lord Harihara every day. No rules. This one temple on top of the Shabarimala is about a tradition of Naishtika Brahmacharya. So when there is one temple out of thousands which has one particular tradition, why question it? It's not pernicious. As Justice Indu Malhotra said, It's not pernicious. We're not whipping each other in the name of religion. We're not following bloody customs. Nobody is jumping into the fire. There is nothing dangerous about it. And there is no loss to anyone either. We just have to wait a little while. Let me finish. There are also other temples across India, in Jodhpur, in Kamakya, in Assam, in Kerala itself. There are several temples where men are not allowed zakah. Men are not allowed, at least for some part of the year. So are we going to now talk about gender discrimination for that as well? It's absurd. It's
Okay.
absurd. Why don't we just respect age-old customs when they have nothing to do with... If Tripti Desai wanted to fight for gender discrimination, fight for women's rights, she should be fighting for the lot of women in India in social situations where we don't get fed the same way. Women don't get fed the same way. Women don't get educated the same way. Women don't get married the same way. Women don't get divorced the same way. Women don't get paid the same way. Where is her activism for that? She
Okay.
is an attention seeker, and this is absolutely unnecessary.
Kasturi,